How you guys doing? Good afternoon, Edomites. No, hope you guys are doing well. Did you guys have a power outage this morning? I did. It was awesome. Power outages are great, especially when they don't last that long. They really are great though. If you guys didn't have a power outage, you really don't know what you're missing. Most people take pretty much everything for granted. Even the most simplest things. Like heat in the house, hot water, coffee or warm food. Most people can't, at least in the modern world, can't have any of that without power coming into their house. Hopefully this stream isn't quite so scratchy. I listened to the last one. It sounded like the microphone kept scraping on my my neck gaiter or something. I don't know how you guys could deal with that. Apologies for the auditory torture. It snowed here this morning, which was unexpected to say the least. One, it didn't even freeze. Never got down below 36 here, but it was still 3 inches of snow. Just goes to show you that God runs the world. Thankfully, we had a portable propane stove and a canister with propane in it, so we could make coffee and made some oatmeal with eggs for breakfast. With the poached egg in the oatmeal. You guys ever eat oatmeal with poached eggs? God is so awesome and wonderful and great. If people don't appreciate the small things, especially when they go away for a short time, and they don't I don't try to remember to be grateful. Be grateful when they're there. Eventually, they'll get ripped out from under a person. I think I mentioned it numerous times before, but the thing a person should do when they encounter unpleasantries is at least if they're not like life threatening, they should one it's good to be grateful all the time. It's definitely good to be grateful what they're not going through and the things that they do have at that moment. But it's also good to especially if it's like physical suffering or like stress and annoyances and stuff like that. It's good to ask for the strength to endure, not for whatever it is to go away. Because a lot of the time, if a person is doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they encounter hardship and suffering, it's to one is to remove punishment in the next world, and also it can be for as a substitute for something much worse here. But also for as resistance to get a person to grow, spiritually in their connection with him. Rev Rubin used a great analogy in I think it's in Jewish Hashkafa 4, where he talks about a person's Yetzer Hara, their evil inclination, always growing with a person. If a person didn't know, it would say that pretty much sucks, or that's unfortunate. But without that constant adding of weight, like he said, imagine your weight training or powerlifting or bodybuilding or whatever ridiculous kind of thing. The person can't just throw 2 5-pound plates on the bar and just lift that forever and expect that they're gonna won't even stay as strong, let alone increase their strength. So in order to flex for your soul to get swole, the evil inclination has to throw on more plates. Sometimes they'll even lean on your back when you're at the bottom of a squat or something. hopefully a person has good form when that happens, and they don't rip a muscle out of their back or have a knee give out. It's no one gets anything that they can't handle. Without succeeding, without getting a passing grade from the court of heaven, even though it seems like that's not the case a lot of the time. It's just a person has to dig deep and take in a deep breath and tuck in their abs and just squeeze their core as hard as they can and push out of the bottom of the squat. I try not to stall out when they're down there. One good thing about a power outage this morning was it forced me to not watch and post as many lectures this morning because the Wi-Fi was out. I don't have unlimited cell service or data, and I found I usually use Safari because it seems to be the best resource for Torah that's not Avodah Zarah. I used to use, unfortunately, Bible Hub, which is great for someone that wants to have a better understanding of Hebrew, but it's also definitely a trap. One thing I was reminded of recently by one of Rev. Rubin's lectures was what he called mitzvahs of the Satan. And he said that for most people, like about chuvas and converts that don't know Hebrew, or at least don't understand the Hebrew of the Torah. Trying to learn it too much is definitely a trick the Satan uses to get them away from what they need to learn, to learn Musar and refine their character, and to observe to learn and observe whatever laws they need to know. So he convinces people to learn Hebrew because it's the holy language, and sure it is. That's good. It allows a person to have a better grasp of what they're learning, and a person can't especially a Jew, they can't really really study and complete the mitzvah of learning Torah without speaking, speaking Hebrew. Because it has to be, to be done right, it has to be fully engaging in like the thoughts, the words, and the acts. Like the entire aspect of a person's being has to be engaged in the act. But if they neglect learning to focus on just learning Hebrew, but they don't learn the halakha and like what is forbidden and what is permitted, and like how to learn Musar to refine their character. Then, in his words, there's lots of people who speak great Hebrew that are in Gehenom. Unfortunately, one of the guys that might be there, I learned about that his his Hebrew cantillations or like reciting of the Torah is probably one of the most complete and widely known audio recordings, widely known and accurate in the Sephardic pronunciation, or it might be Yemenite. I can't recall. But this guy, I was reading about him. I can't remember what his name is, but he was in Israel, and I think it said he fought in the War of Independence. He grew up in yeshiva and studied Torah, and then he got captured. I forget if it was by the British or the Arabs, but when he's in prison, he should have smoked the cigarettes that he had rather than do what he did. He traded a pack of cigarettes for a copy of, I forget if it was the whole New Testament or if it was just a book of Paul, one or the other. And eventually he went to like, I don't know, at least 2 or 3 different denominations of the wrong way to go, to say the least. Eventually, as I get said, he became a monk somewhere, like Benedictine or something like that. I'm not sure what the halakha ruling is on recordings of people that are idol worshippers, or like if there's like some might rule that it depends on if like his intent or his thoughts at the time that it was recorded. Like if it was before he converted to Christianity. Well, there's definitely one thing that's I know for sure, that there's there's uh there's only two cases where God's name can be erased or destroyed. One is if to preserve shalom bayit, peace in the home. The if a man suspected his wife of cheating on him back when the temple was still around, he would take her to the Kohen, and the Kohen would write the ineffable name on a scroll and put it in a glass of water. They call it the bitter waters. I think that's what it's called. And since God sees everything, he would erase his name if she was accused, without, or I guess I shouldn't say falsely, but if she was not guilty of uh, of being with another man, God would erase his name. And if she was guilty, she would literally like swell up and explode, and all her flesh would just be splattered all over the place. The other time it's allowed to erase God's name is when it's contained in a Sefer Torah, in a Torah scroll that's written by an idol worshiper. That's why they burned the Mishnah Torah, because they mistakenly thought that the Rambam was an idol worshiper. But once they saw the ramifications of their decision, once the French and Spanish started burning, real Sefer Torahs, they knew that they made a grave mistake. I forget the rabbi's name, but there was one leading rabbi at the time that spoke out against the Rambam and his Mishnah Torah. After he realized he was wrong, he spent the rest of his life traveling to every single town anywhere that his writings or his word could have possibly gone to until he died, trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube, so to speak, trying to do teshuvah for his Lashon Hara. And that is the truth. That's what it takes to if a person really wants to do teshuvah for something like Lashon Hara. They literally have to spend the rest of their lives trying to comb the world for every feather that flew out of that pillow that they ripped open. They got carried off in the wind. recently started reading more, along with trying to read the weekly parashah. Started reading Pirkei Avot. I listened to a couple series of lectures on Pirkei Avot in the past, but the inspiration a person gets from some lectures can't be, especially in person. I've never attended one in person though, but definitely can't be replaced by a book. But the amount of retention and insight that a person gets from reading and checking references, and especially if they study how they're supposed to, like or at least somewhat close to it. The traditional way, I think, is to go over everything 3 times. Like you read the verse or the like a section once, and then you try to like see what they're trying to get at, both the bashat and then what is inferred from what's said, like I forget what the next one is. The starts with the resh, but I can't remember. Like the next layer of meaning, like what's alluded to. And there's definitely a lot of things to know about, both what's in the Torah and the oral Torah and the comments and commentaries of the sages. There are no extra words, like 0. One of the reasons for that is, at least with the comments of the sages in the Talmud, and up until like the printing press was invented, was paper and ink or parchment, like the tanned hide that they use for separate Torahs and their commentaries and stuff, was hard to make, especially considering it can't just be any animal. It had to be a kosher animal. It had to be slaughtered properly, and if anything goes wrong during the process that makes it not kosher, you have to scrap it and start all over. So every square couple millimeters of space on the parchment they used with a lot of thought. That's one thing that's said about the how wise the Rambam was. Like there's this thing called the degradation of the generations, or like deterioration. I forget what the proper word is. It's the fact that there's always exceptions to the rule, but they are very few and far between. But the Rambam is one of those exceptions. That the majority rule is that the previous generation was always greater than the ones that came after. there was there was some academic intellectual guy who thought he was super smart. He had a whole bunch of doctorate degrees in like I forget what, like math and science and like literature or philosophy or something. And he didn't get what the deal was about Rambam. Like he thought it was just some guy. And this rabbi that was trying to get him to do teshuva was telling him that you're nowhere near as smart as Rambam. You're not even like the dust under his feet. And to prove it to him, he gave him this this halakhic ruling, and he said, in Hebrew, make this halakha ruling in the least amount of letters or words that you can. And so the guy takes like a month or so, and he comes back with like, I forget what the exact number of words that he had, but he came up with something like 20, 25 words or something like that. And the guy's like, try harder. So he works for another month or so, and he comes back and he's got it down to like 17 words. And guys, the rabbi tells him, you're getting closer, but you still got a ways to go. The guy's like, no way, this is impossible. But he's his ego won't let him give up. So he spends like 3 more months trying to whittle it down. And he gets it down to like 13 letters or something, or 13 words, 11 words or something like that. And finally he's like, this is it. I know I got it. And the rabbi says, nope. The Rambam Paskin, this halakha was something like 8 words. 8 words where this guy that was, probably one of the smarter guys in that generation of, the wisdom of the goyim, like they say. Took him like 5 or 6 months for one halakha, and he still couldn't get that as good as the Rambam did. I think the Mishnah Torah has like, I don't know how many, thousands upon thousands. As while there's 613 mitzvot in the Torah, the halakha rulings are like way more, because each mitzvah has to be applied in like, or explained in any, in a vast number of ways to apply to like any potential situation that may arise. And so to take that lesson to heart, the thing to do when you learn is you read whatever it is, and then you try to deduce using your what you know previously, and your the deductive part of your intellect, where you can like reason one thing from another. Like you know that I don't know, like say you've never seen the sun or something, or you're always asleep at night, but you know by everything else, or you're always asleep during the day, so you never seen the sun. All you've seen is the darkness, but you know, like everything else has an opposition. Like there's cold and there's hot, there's wet and there's dry, there's good and there's evil, there's up and there's down. So using your intellect, the and reasoning and deduction, you can deduce that there has to be there has to be something that opposes this darkness, even though you've never seen it. So you use that kind of thinking with what they're trying to explain, but also use like other things that you've learned and see how they may relate or associate to the things that they're talking about. Like in I've been reading Perkei Avot, and there's see if I can find it again. I think it's Perkei Avot 2:9 or 10. The sages talk about like the good traits and bad traits of the righteous and the wicked, like a good eye, a good companion, a good neighbor, and foresight. A good eye for me was pretty simple. It's someone that doesn't look at what others have, or look disparagingly at what they have and want more. The question that was asked is Rabban Yochanan said to his students, "Go forth and observe which is the right way to which a man should cleave." And like it's 5 or 6 of his students each gave their answer. Rabbi Eliezer said a good eye. I thought I got the next one is Rabbi Yeshua said a good companion. I thought I got that one close, but not quite. I said a chacham, or a wise man, wise person, is a good companion, and that's true, but not wholly correct, or not fully fleshed out and explained. The Well, a wise man would do this. A good companion is one that rebukes his friend and corrects his misdeeds through words of musar. Safari is a really good resource for someone that wants to learn. I highly recommend trying to find certain translations. Definitely, for the Torah and the Tanakh, stay far away from the contemporary JPS. Stick to the older translations, or one that's not, that I like and have been using lately, is the Quran, Yerushalayim. I think it's Kumash or something, or Torah, forget which. And then you can click on each verse, or tap on it if you're on a phone, and it will bring up a resources guide, and then you can alter the translations, or switch from them. And if you scroll down, there's one of the first things under related text is commentary, and then you can select from any of the like the Pirkei Avot. It's pretty, it's old, and it's really popular. So there's like 143 commentaries on it. But it's definitely a good resource to use. That's it proves the saying that God gives everyone the tools for whatever path they want to take. If they want to commit sins, they'll have their way cleared for them, so it's very easy. If they want to keep his laws and learn his Torah, the same will be done. Learning Torah is definitely not as easy as committing sins, at least not for most people. It definitely takes some self-sacrifice and dedication, especially at first. And a person should definitely be cautious of what they're learning, and and why. It's like if a person doesn't learn Musar, like the recommendation of my my Rav and a lot of rabbis is that a person should learn Musar for however long prior to learning anything else, and really take what they're saying to heart. Like even if you think that the whatever the lesson is talking about some really corrupt, evil, wicked person and has nothing to do with you, that is definitely not a good way to go. I mean, unless it's talking about laws that don't apply to you or something like that, then you shouldn't really be learning those anyway. But it's good to always take everything of what they say and know that just because this isn't like your thing that you really struggle with, it's still something to like carve into your soul that you don't want to ever get like that. So make sure and remember it. I said that's how a person knows what their one of their purposes in life is whatever midot that they have, whatever character traits that are not in the golden middle path. Like if they're angry or stingy or jealous in undesirable ways, which is most of them, but not all of them. But a person has to learn a lot, which how those exceptions apply. But whatever those negative traits are that people that rub other people that you encounter the wrong way, that's one of the main purposes in a person's life, is to rectify and correct those flawed character traits. I mean, needless to say, a person has to observe all the Torah that they're obligated to. Whoever they are, whether you're a Jew or a goy. But even if a person does all that, and they come up to Shemayim in the court of heaven, and they are still haven't perfected their character traits, they're gonna get a not the best grade that they could. Only he knows exactly how that's gonna go. As best, once a person learns, that's what the goal is. Aside from acknowledging that there's only one and only creator of everything and master of the universe, that brought the Jews out of Mitzrayim with a strong hand and an outstretched arm, and that there's no one else up there but him. No ghost and no sun. Not a rabbi or anyone else. and keeping the laws, he said. There have been a lot of people that have asked, well, if that's the purpose, why isn't it listed among the mitzvot in the Torah? And it's because people were supposed to learn that, or that's the whole point of the Torah, is to read and learn and do. That's another thing that I learned about the word da'at from I believe it was Rabbi Alon Anava said that da'at infers like a connection to something, like when the Torah talks about carnal knowledge, it uses the word da'at, or when there's and it's not just used in the case of intimate relations between a man and a woman. It's like between close friends, or like I'm not sure the other examples, but it infers like knowing and having a connection with something. So the only way a person has da'at Torah is by doing what it says. Otherwise, they really aren't connected to it. They may learn, but they don't learn for the sake of heaven. They learn for intellectual stimulation, or kavod, for honor. I mean, there's all kinds of people that learn Torah that are wholly corrupt, wicked people. I mean, there's lots of universities now in Israel and around the world full of atheists and heretics and abominations that study Gemara or the Talmud just for their own knowledge, and probably to be able to argue with people who are observant. One thing I heard recently that I haven't looked into, but that was kind of interesting and made me think of Doug's comment about the what the New Testament described. It sounded like Hashmal was at there's two thrones of glory in Shemayim. There's his throne, and then there's the throne of the Sitra Achra. The throne of the Satan. I'm not sure if his throne has the same images on it. The Sitra Achra's throne. I'm not sure if it's if it has the same images as the Holy One, blessed be. But even if it didn't, the deceptions of the Satan are so fine tuned and so powerful that a person would have to be a perfect man in this world to not be deceived by it. And what the fruit that was born out of that is evidence that all those people were not perfect men. That's another way a person can spot evil people and evil acts is what fruit is born out of their acts, even if they're not wholly evil. It takes a lot of merit to have something as great as the church claimed to be. But obviously none of them had. Not in the slightest. I mean, I guess it's not, they didn't have any good merits, or not enough to tip the scales in the right direction. There's almost no one with no good merits. Oh, good one, buddy. How you doing, Joshua? The main reason I started this stream was just for a chance to glorify his name and to be grateful. We had a power outage today, and it snowed, which is pretty rare for this time of year. And it just goes to show you who's in charge. See, there's so many things about the world now that are traps and snares, and it's way more than just the things that cause people to sin, like TV and porn and lewdly dressed women and social media facilitating lashon hara. It's things like genetically engineered viruses and weather modification. That's good. Enjoy it while it lasts. That is the main point. But the all that stuff exists as a way for people who don't really want to follow the Torah to have some kind of excuse that they tell their own intellect and their reasoning that gives them a reason why that crazy old dusty book, and God forbid, and the people that observe it are all crazy, and none of it's real, so I don't have to do it. But that's obviously not the case. I mean, even though all that stuff exists, his hand still works through the hand of the wicked. I mean, it's said in I believe it's Proverbs 16:4 in Mishlei. He creates all things for himself, even the wicked for the day of evil. But sorry you didn't get here till now, but I gotta cut and run. Hopefully we can catch up later, or hopefully you're doing well and learning and doing the best you can to follow through with what you learn. You're welcome. Have a good day. May his name be blessed.